What do you think of when you hear the name Poseidon? Wrong, it's murder and rape. Hey, at least with his sisters, Poseidon stopped at murder. Yeah, think about that. It means exactly what you think it means. Poseidon put 2 babies in his sister Demeter without her consent, and that's one of the many reasons why this episode is called There are extra facts about Poseidon that don't fit my flow of storytelling, but for completion's sakes, I want to include them so they're at the end of the video. Watch until then if you want to get all there is to know about Poseidon. Honestly, the only reason Poseidon's all-around scumbag behavior isn't more known is because his wife wasn't as jealous as Zeus's wife Hera and didn't air all of Poseidon's dirty laundry. Because seriously, while Zeus committed more atrocities, he also did a lot of good, including creating humanity. Kind of still a split decision on whether that's a good thing or not. Poseidon, meanwhile, was really all about being a bigger dick than his trident. And no, that is not excused by his dad eating him after he was born. After Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades defeated the Titans and took over as gods of the world, they played rock, paper, scissors to decide who gets the heaven, the underworld, and the seas. Poseidon got the seas, which was fitting because the sea is just as moody as Poseidon. And those mood swings meant he did a pretty crappy job as the god of the sea, constantly causing floods and earthquakes whenever he was bored or annoyed or literally just killing for fun.
I kill for fun!
Poseidon even killed the people praying to him for safe seafaring, and whenever he got bored of that and left his underwater palace, Poseidon usually did so for some of his non-consensual impregnation quests. So eventually his brother Zeus had enough. Not because of the non-consensual pregnancies thing, that was all good fun for the rape brothers, but if you know anything about Zeus, you know that he really cares about being worshipped. So prayers were holy to the guy. Killing worshippers was where Zeus drew the line. Very weirdly, that's where he drew the line. And Zeus stepped in. And you know it's bad when your even more genocidal, rapey, maniac brother has to get you to calm down. And since Xanax wasn't a thing yet, Zeus decided that Poseidon needs a wife. Because he knew from experience how much more satisfying it is to make your own wife miserable. And since Zeus is still Zeus and not to be confused with some kind of nice guy, he simply forced someone to marry his daughter to Poseidon. That someone was Nereus, the previous ruler of the sea, before Zeus overthrew everybody and gave the seas to Poseidon. Nereus had a bunch of beautiful daughters born of the sea, fitting as a wife for the sea god. So of course, Poseidon picked the one that didn't want him. You know, because my guy likes a challenge. Poseidon's such a prick. The name was Amphitrite, and after she refused him, Poseidon used his pet dolphin to convince her that he's a good guy and get her to like him, and because girls like guys with cute pets, it worked. And that's why, to this day, guys get dogs to impress girls. I'm the worst. Before the marriage, Poseidon was just a massive dick. But after he married Amphitrite, he was a massive dick that cheated on his wife. And even Poseidon's own sister wasn't safe from him. Poseidon desired Demeter, his sister, the goddess of agriculture and harvest, but she refused to sleep with him, which Poseidon in turn refused to accept since Demeter did sleep with her other brother Zeus and had Persephone with her brother Zeus. Yeah, don't even let that trip you up, because this whole family tree started with a mother who slept with her son, and that son then had Zeus, Demeter, and Poseidon and co. with his own sister. So this is really just the original team inbred right here. So Poseidon tried to woo Demeter, who said she would appreciate it if he creates a beautiful new creature for her. And Poseidon struggled through the process of creating a beautiful new 4-legged creature. His first attempts were a bit too fat and became known as the hippos. His next attempts were a bit too tall and had all proportions and became known as the giraffes. And after some more 4-legged animals that he wasn't happy with, Poseidon finally came up with the horse, a powerful animal of tremendous elegance and power, worthy of Demeter's admiration, except she still didn't want to sleep with him. So now Poseidon decided that her nose means yes, and her running away means catch me if you can, and even when Demeter shapeshifted into the newly created horse to run away faster, Poseidon simply shapeshifted into a stallion to catch her faster. And once he caught up to her, he did what he came to do, and then left Demeter behind pregnant. Demeter was disgusted by this, and she could not bear to even look at the children she bore from her brother's assault and abandoned them. Those children were the black-winged horse Arion and the girl Despina. The horse grew up fine and eventually became Hercules, aka Heracles' steed, but Despina turned into a bitter frost goddess, resenting her mother and her father, and in her hatred, Despina spends a quarter of the year freezing all her father's rivers and all her mother's crops, which is why we now have winter. Thanks, Poseidon. And while we're on the topic of family, Poseidon didn't really have a good relationship with any of his. Recap, Poseidon's dad tried to eat him, his brother Zeus grew tired of him. He raped his sister Demeter, and his other sister Hestia also hated him because he tried to take her virginity before she took a sacred virginity vow, and the other virgin goddess Athena, who was Poseidon's niece, was Poseidon's enemy number one. Athena stole a city from Poseidon, a city that was then named after her instead of him, a city you might today know as Athens. At the time, Athens was known as Kekopia, and Poseidon was lobbying hard for the name to be changed to Poseidon City. Not really, but it's a cool name. It would be a great name for a water theme park, by the way. You're welcome. Poseidon wanted the city named in his honor, and to impress King Kekopos, he struck the ground with his trident to erect a massive fountain in the middle of the city, which was a really cool party trick, but entirely useless because it was salt water, so they couldn't drink it, and because the city was already surrounded by water anyway, so yeah, thanks, but no thanks, Aquaman. Then Athena swooped in and promised the city olive trees if they chose her, and since olive trees were not native to the region yet and provided food, olive oil, and much more, the city picked Athena, and Poseidon now had a forever grudge against her that escalated in another innocent woman being raped. A woman who swore an oath of virginity as a priestess of Athena and devoted her life to maintaining Athena's temple. The perfect victim for Poseidon, who was just looking for a way to insult Athena, so he had his way with that innocent priestess against her will right inside of Athena's temple. A huge insult to the virgin goddess, who instead of punishing Poseidon, then punished the priestess for being too beautiful and tempting, and cursed her to become a hideous monster with snakes for hair, a monster now better known as Medusa. Medusa would later give birth to another one of Poseidon's infamous children, another winged horse, this one white and known as Pegasus. But Medusa's story is tragic, complex, and there are many versions and interpretations, so it really needs its own video on another day. So with all this really bad stuff going down, there is a silver lining. Poseidon did father a great hero, Theseus. There's still kind of the fact that Poseidon cheated on his wife Amphitrite, tried to conceive Theseus with another woman, and the fact that Theseus is not just a hero, but also the guy who kidnapped Helen of Troy when she was 13 years young. Yeah, like father, like son. But Theseus' story, though, that's a video for another day. Time for the extra. When I said Zeus created humanity, it should be noted that technically Zeus didn't create humanity himself. He ordered Prometheus to create humanity, which he did by using aspects of all the major gods. He modeled them out of Gaia's earth, he used Zeus' spit to shape them, and Apollo's fire to bake them, and then the Clayman finally had Athena to blow life into them. Yeah, you heard me. If you're confused about Poseidon being eaten by his dad after birth, watch my Zeus video right here on my channel. It's linked here on the related. You can click it somewhere. And there I explain the really messed up origin of Poseidon, Zeus, and the other siblings. I also want to note that Despina, Poseidon and Demeter's daughter, born out of a salt, was only able to cause winter because for 3 months of the year, Demeter neglected her duties as goddess of agriculture when her daughter was in the underworld with her husband Hades, and Demeter was depressed. So that factors into that winter thing, but I'll explain that in more detail in my upcoming Hades video.